When you return, Oreo approaches. It seems like something has happened to the town. He says a raging wind blew through and destroyed the town. You surmise the flapping of the dragon's wings is to blame. You explain that you need a boat to go after the dragon, and Oreo's look turns grim. Sensing there may be a problem, you quickly make your way to the wharf. The woman says the violent winds stirred up the sea, causing her precious ship to run aground. But if you can return her vessel to the water, she will gladly give you a ride. Your brows furrow, knowing that there is no way you could move a ship. Beside you, Bruno stretches, warming up his body. After striking a fantastic pose to show off his muscles, he charges straight at the boat. No matter how hard he pushes, though, the boat does not budge. It's pointless, you sigh, turning around when a muscle-bound Melanie stands before you. Now it's working, Bruno exclaims, unsurprised at the sight of Melanie. It appears the custom supplement she drank in the tower bulked her up. Let us combine our power, Bruno entreats Melanie. Her whole body racked with chills, Melanie screams out to the sky. You need Melanie's help to catch the dragon. You call out to her. You turn your earnest eyes to her and say, "Please, lend us your strength." But, unable to hold back at the sight of her impressive build, burst into laughter. But in the next instant, you receive a violent punch to the face and are sent flying. You hear your bones creak in a way you've never heard before. But afterward, the two muscle-bound forms work together and return the boat to sea. I will never be a beautiful bride like this, Melanie mutters sadly. You're wrong, Bruno exclaims. Those muscles are the most beautiful thing a bride could ever have. At any rate, you leave the port town and follow the dragon. In exchange for returning her boat to the sea, she says she will give you a ride. Her gaze settles on Melanie. You, my lady, are no ordinary woman, she remarks in awe. sailing after the dragon. Make sure you are prepared for the journey. And fight. Nice work. That was lucky. That was lucky. You did great. Nice work. Don't hold back. And fight. Nice work. Pick up a scrap of paper from the shore. I threw a mercenary's sword into the sea, and in turn, true happiness was granted me, it reads. It might be worth trying yourself, if you happen to have a mercenary's sword. You'd love to give it a try, only to remember you don't have a mercenary's sword. You give up on the idea and walk away. Nice work. Don't hold back. fight. Congrats. Changed your mind, have you? Come to buy the legendary weapon after all? He whispers eagerly. You decide not to overthink it and hand over the money. Anyone asks, you didn't buy it here, he says, repeating the last part ad nauseum as he hands it to you. Of course, he was on the black market. I'm closed for now. Don't bother coming back, the weapons merchant says, shooing you away with his hands. The guards have cottoned on to his illegal weapons trade. You shan't be buying from him again. You turn the magical key in the lock, and the door opens. You sense a presence behind you, and turn to see a guard. He starts talking to you like your old friends. He tells you this is where Queen Nilla used to store the royal treasure, but not anymore. So, you see, you won't find anything of value in there, he finishes, and walks away. There's a scrap of paper on the ground where the guard was standing. You pick it up and read it. The guard stops you, saying you aren't permitted to pass. Just as you are about to leave, Oreo comes to see you off. It looks like he has something to say. According to him, the dragon flew to the west, where there is an island called Mount Medica. Rumor has it they are actively researching medicine on this island. He thinks he can use their knowledge in his work. Understanding his father's wishes, Bruno nods. Say no more. Mount Medica. Something stirs deep inside your chest, but you blame your imagination and board the boat without another thought. Wasn't that so much fun? Ritis can hardly contain her excitement as she seeks a similar reaction from Melanie. Sure, Melanie croaks, her face a sickly shade of green. The custom supplement has worn off completely. Ritis turns to you and carries on, oblivious. Wasn't that just the greatest? You, however, are a bit worn out, as your mid-voyage teasing of Melanie prompted her to wring you like a rag. Your first order of business should be a sweep of the island to ascertain the dragon's whereabouts. Tread carefully, as danger lies in the unknown. A road stretches west from the docks, suggesting the presence of a house or settlement at the other end. Large boulders block the path before you. Alas, you must turn back. Looks like it's too early to come this way. You take the lead, taking in the island's scenery. It all looks unsettlingly familiar to you. A white-hot streak of pain shoots through your head, feeling as though your skull will split in two. You grab your head as if holding it together and drop to your knees. The searing pain erases any hope of recalling the memory that felt primed to return to you. Beads of sweat are pouring off you now as you struggle to keep your head in one piece. Drink this, Bruno insists, offering you a bottle of headache curative. You greedily drink it down, desperate for relief. The pain begins to ebb, and you hurriedly resolve to press on. Excellent. Congrats. About the enemy. Bizarre rock transformed into a fear rock. The only way out of this fight is through it. Let's do this. Nice work. Be able to climb that. was lucky. And fight. After a time, you happen upon a village. This place, you mutter unconsciously. Perhaps he is as anxious as you are about this place. You two okay? Melanie asks. You open your mouth to reply. Only to notice the ambush a moment too late. Repel the monster attack. Let's do this. comes rocketing down from the mountaintop, there and gone in a flash. What was that? Your friends insist it was probably just a rock, but you're convinced it was a monster, and you can prove it. The rock adroitly avoids crashing into anything as it falls. Only monsters can move like that. Your friends breathe a sigh of relief as the monster hurtles ever farther away. You are accosted by a man the instant you set foot in the village. "Medicine, please," he begs. His eyes are glazed over, and his general demeanor unsettling. Should he really have medicine? You give him a glimpse of the medicine. "Nothing in this life is free," you sneer. Your callousness is swiftly punished as the medicine slips from your grasp and clatters to the ground. The man runs off to who knows where, making noises that can only be described as inhuman. You and the party resolve to continue exploring the village, despite the unsettling encounter that just occurred. Something is askew in this village. It would be best to proceed with caution until you can determine what is happening. The man glares at you, clutching tight to countless medicine bottles in his hands. He insists that they all belong to him and refuses to share them with anyone. Another villager approaches you. Though his speech is slurred, the demand remains the same: medicine. This villager is also behaving strangely. Will you acquiesce to his request? Ridis briefly reveals the medicine under her cloak. "Nothing in life is free," she says, clearly mocking your earlier blunder. Her fun is short-lived, as she too loses her grip on the medicine. Karma is cruel and indiscriminate. You could not help but notice the groans of "medicine, sweet medicine," as he fled. Something's not right in this village, Bruno mutters, clearly worried. You hear a panicked cry up the road. "Stay with me. Focus on me." That can't be good. The old man sighs, saying he lost both his son and grandson to the medicine. Not wanting to be the only one left behind, he lifts the bottle in his hand to his lips and gulps it down. You ask the villager about the dragon. "The headman can help you if you're in some trouble," she retorts, doubling over to empty the contents of her stomach onto the street. Dozens of empty medicine bottles litter the ground in front of this woman. This cursed island is separated from the rest of the world, she mutters from the ground. I heard that outsiders call this place Mount Medica, she remarks, then throws the empty bottle in her hand to the roadside. You hail the villager, only to receive a blunt, "Go bother the village headman with your chatter," in return. The villager turns to face the wall once more and smacks his head against it repeatedly. His forehead is soon covered in blood. You must stay if you want to stay, the innkeeper continues, utterly disinterested in even attempting to sell you on a room. You arrive on the scene to find a man collapsed in the street, convulsing. Another man kneels over him in an apparent attempt to provide comfort and care. The nobleman wears impressive white armor befitting a knight. He continues talking to the fallen man as he provides emergency care. Seeing the knight's devotion makes you feel a bit like a putz for doing nothing. You ask Bruno to provide some of his custom supplement. He furrows his brow and solemnly shakes his head. The villager is now clawing at his own face with his fingernails, crying out for medicine. Blood, as black as tar, begins oozing out of his eyes, ears, and mouth. It proceeds to leak from every orifice imaginable. The convulsions subside. Within moments, the villager lies still. A horrific thought makes itself known. This is the first time you have witnessed the death of a fellow man. Even in a world where medicines and elixirs can cure most any ailment, none are safe from death's icy grip. And as well you know, that which is dead can never return. Your mind goes blank. You drop to your knees in shock. Melanie clamps her hand to her mouth, stifling a scream. Riddis shakes uncontrollably. The knight hangs his head. Bruno nervously asks, "What are you doing here?" The knight's name is Sherwin. He identifies himself as a member of the Ivory Order. His travels brought him to this village where he has been caring for the ailing residents. His face contorts in disgust. If not for these foul drugs, they would be healed. He spits and takes his leave. Bruno gazes upon the villager's corpse with a look of apparent realization. You had best get out of here quick, she cautions you. If you stay here, then you too will, she begins, then suddenly starts cackling. A A man approaches you as you wander through the village. "Spare a bit of medicine?" he asks genially. He sets about convincing you that your kindness will be returned tenfold if you just give him a little from your pack. His silver tongue would put even the best salesman to shame. You reach for a bottle of medicine, completely taken in by his pitch. Bruno stills your hand. "I wouldn't do that if I were you." "I really shouldn't," you yelp over your shoulder, already walking away at a brisk pace. You continue wandering the village streets, only to be accosted by the man once more. It seems he will follow you to the ends of the earth. "Why do you want it so badly?" you ask, affording him another opening. He gladly takes it. He first came in contact with it as a child.
His parents paid him no mind.
And never since forgot its wonderful taste. You are fully invested in this story, and desperate to give the man some small comfort in this cruel, cruel world. You're primed and ready to hand it over. "I've heard better sob stories," Melanie says dryly, having somehow absorbed the man's story, despite the blistering speed in which he delivered it. Bruno thinks you'd better not, but you're not so sure. You heed Bruno's warning and return the medicine to your pack. The man's shoulders droop and he shuffles off out of sight. He appears to have dropped something peculiar in his haste. You approach Sherwin, who is caring for another villager. "Is every day like this?" you inquire. According to the knight, an elderly man living just outside the village is typically the one who looks after its residents. "You'd be best served asking him all your questions," Sherwin says as he returns to his patient. There isn't a soul about. The house is surely abandoned.